So what do you mean by education? Education means the act of teaching and training. So it is an essential human virtue. A human being is not in proper sense a human being till he is educated. Okay. Uh, Education enables a man to realize higher values of life. The concept of education is dynamic. It can never be static. It is still in progress of evaluation and it will never come to end. So education, it's the act of training and education. My voice is audible to all of you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So it is an essential human virtue. So a human being is not in proper sense. We are not human till we are educated. Why? I mean, just answer me logically. Why do we educate ourselves? Why are we going for this education? Anybody?
To live our life harmonically, peacefully in this society.
Yes, and yeah, so there is what the concept of education. It is the act of teaching. So what we are doing is we are teaching you and we are training you. So this is the concept of education. So we are not a proper human until we are fully educated. Okay. So the concept of education is dynamic. It is never static. So we keep on changing. The education system, it keeps on advancing and progressing. It's not like in 90s time the education, the kind of education that we had gone through, it's different from the kind of education that we had right now. So it is dynamic, it is never static, it keeps on changing. So, and then in broader sense, education is a lifelong process. What do you say? Do you agree on this point? Education is a lifelong process. In every point of life, in every moment of life, we are educating one way or the other. So when you go to a shop, you are learning something. When you meet a new person, you are learning something from them. Am I right? So education is a lifelong process. It is never ending. We learn one way or the another from any things, from any moment, from any situations. Education is not about reading, writing, and remembering. So So in broader sense, education is a lifelong process, as I told you already. Education is not about reading, writing, and remembering, but it consists of the development of the head, heart, hand, and health. So am I right? So it is not about education is not about reading, it's not about writing and remembering. It is about your development, about development of personality, development of your head, development of your heart, hands, and health. So it is not limited to schooling and institution. Do you agree on this point? Education is not limited to schooling and institution. In narrow sense,
Yes.
education is confined to schools and university. So when we talk in a broader sense, education is a lifelong process. It's not about remembering, writing, and reading. But when we talk education in the narrow sense, this is true. Education, we are confined. When we say about education, we are confined to school and university. Special agency, they provide education, and it is more formal under set control conditions and environment. Like what we have going through right now is we are confined to the schools and university. We are providing you education. It is like a more formal. It has several criteria to be followed. You have to be under certain obligation under a control conditions and environment. It is pre-planned and
Ma'am, your call is breaking.
come again. What happened?
Ma'am, your voice is breaking. It's not clearly audible.
Okay, my net is not stable. Is it audible now? Still not clear.
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, let me connect. Is it audible now? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's continue. Okay. So in narrow sense, when we talk about education in a narrow sense, right now what we are going through, this is what in a narrow sense education is. We are confined to schools and university, and it is already pre-planned and given by the teachers in a classroom. We pre-plan what are the syllabus to be taken, what are the classes to be taken, what are the demos to be taken, and it is being met in the classroom. It is being set formality under several control conditions and environment. So let's see what is the definition of education. It is given by Mahatma Gandhi. So education, all round drawing out the base in the child and man body, mind and spirit. So education, according to Mahatma Gandhi, he defined education as it is all round drawing out the base in the child and the man, body, mind and spirit. So according to Mahatma Gandhi, he says education is like we are trying to find out the best in you. Drawing out the best from your body, from your mind and from your spirit, and we term it as education. It is being defined by Mahatma Gandhi. Now coming to the meaning of education. So far we have learned about concept of education. So we have learned about meaning of education. So let's see in this slide the meaning of education. The word education is derived from Latin words educare, educare and educatum, which means to nourish and to bring up. By educating an individual, we attempt to give desirable knowledge, understanding, skill, interest, attitude and critical thinking. So the word educare, education is derived from the Latin words educare, educare, educatum, which means to bring up or to nourish. So by giving education, why are you educating? We are trying to give you a desirable knowledge, understanding, to make you skill, to make your interest, to make your attitude, to make to develop your personality and to develop your critical thinking. Am I right? Okay. Develops deeper understanding of life. So once you grow old, once you become adult, with all your education, with all your understanding, you develop more understanding of life. You understand the meaning of human relations. You take this importance and the cause and effect of relationship and so on. So individual acquire skills in writing, speaking, calculating, drawing, operating equipment. So these are all the meaning of education. So this is, we go through this education. So I acquire skills in writing, speaking, calculating, drawing, operating, and all these equipments. Okay. So this is the meaning of education. So as an individual in the society, he has to think critically about various issues in life and take decisions about being free from bias and prejudices, superstitions, and blind belief. Thus, he learned all these qualities of head, hand, and heart through the process of education. Okay. So as an individual, we learned from education how to think critically about issues in life, and we try to solve it. We take a decision which is free from bias, and then we try to we try to remove this, we come to a decision where it is free from bias, superstition, myths and blind belief. So we acquire all these qualities of head, hand and heart through the process of education. All right. So now again the meaning of education. Okay, like we studied the previous slide, we talked about education meaning. Now again, the another meaning of education. Education is a tool to discipline the intellect. Am I right? All the intellectual peoples, they develop this from education. Education, it is a preparation for life. We prepare you for your adult life, for your future life. Education as a direction, it guides you to the proper path where you are growing. And education as growth, this is self-explanatory. Education as acquisition of knowledge, as you acquire knowledge, skills, interests, personality, all from educations. And education as transmission of culture. By the because of this education, you acquire knowledge, you acquire so many things, personalities, critical care thinking, your decision taking ability, and you have this sense of responsibility, and you transmit your own culture through the education. Okay. And now the aims of education. So what are the aims of education? As you said, to live a harmonious life, to have a good life. So let's see, what are the aims of education? First is vocational. So what is the meaning of vocational? Yes, what is the meaning of vocational? My voice is audible to all of you, right?
Ma'am, your voice is not audible.
Is it still breaking?
Yes, ma'am, it's speaking.
My internet connection is unstable. Is it okay now? Now, shall we continue? If you can all hear my voice.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear.
Aims of education. Okay, vocational. What is the meaning of vocational? Occupational, right? Relating to a vocation or to a occupation. Okay, it provides you training in special skills. So this is the meaning of vocational. So the education helps a person to become self-sufficient and economically, socially sound. Okay, you go through this education, you got a degree so that you will work somewhere, you will get a job, you will be stable, so you become self-sufficient, economically and socially sound. And second one is knowledge. So you are going through this education just to acquire knowledge, am I right? So knowledge is power and strength, this is true. It is an asset which no one can destroy. You have knowledge, I mean, is it possible for you to transfer your knowledge to me? I cannot take your knowledge, right? This is for you and only for you. So education is an asset which no one can destroy you. It is for growth of a person and modification of a behavior. You learned more, you grow so well, and the more you grow, the more you acquire, the more you have knowledge, uh, you the type of person you will become, you will be so down to earth person. The more you learn, the more you acquired, the more personality you develop, you will become a person with a down to earth. Okay, it is so, that is why it is, you, it modifies your behaviors. And then number third is complete living. It means living a meaningful life, like you said in the first minutes. Complete living, it means living a meaningful life, which includes activities such as bearing and rearing children, self-developments and preservations, attainments of self-esteem. Self-esteem is self-love, okay, self-respect, self-dignity, and self-actualization and fulfilling one duties and responsibility towards the family and society. So why do we need to live? I mean, what do we need in order to live? We need to have a stable job. We need to have some money. So for this, we need to. So if we have money, if we have a kind of stable job, I mean, we can live a meaningful life. So which includes, we have to bear our expenses. We have a responsibility towards our family. We have to fulfill our responsibility. We have to attend our self-respect, self-dignity. So the aims of education are, first one is vocational, it will give you a job, occupation. Second, knowledge, it is for you and it will modify your behavior. The third aims of education is complete living. It means you will live a meaningful life, like rearing of children, self-development, self-actualizations, fulfilling of your duties and responsibility towards yourself, family, and society. And now the fourth M's is harmonious development. Harmonious, I means balanced cultivations of the physical, intellectual, and aesthetic and moral aspect of human nature. The aim of education is to produce a well-balanced personality. It also cultivates goodness, honesty, purity, truthfulness, courage, and reverence. Okay, so with the fourth aim of education is to have a harmonious development. It doesn't mean that when you go for a kind of education, it doesn't mean that only your physical, intellectual will be developed. All the aspect has to be developed. Your physical, your intellectual, your emotional, even your moral aspect, everything all round, it has to be developed. So that is why they are saying harmonious development. It also cultivates goodness, honesty, purity, truthfulness, courage, and reverence. I think all of you must can relate to this point. So when sorry. So it also cultivates goodness, honesty, purity, truthfulness, courage, and reverence. I think this point all of you can relate. So when you first join EDTU, of your BSc nursing courses, like when you all come through, like after few interaction, you mingle together and you cultivate goodness in you. All of you help each other. All of you were being honesty. You were all pure enough to help each other. You guys are being truthful to each other. You have the courages and you have the reverences. So it cultivates goodness, honesty, purity, truthfulness, courage, and reverence. Okay, this is harmonious development. Even your physical, intellectual, emotional, aesthetic, and moral aspect. And then the fifth one is self-realization. It helps him or her to realize his or her maximum potential. I think all of you can relate this, right? So when you come to your further education, you realize where you are standing, at what point you are standing. So suppose if you have done one exam or some kind of test, so you some of you got better marks, some of you didn't get a better mark, but you still know, even though you didn't get a good mark, you know where you are standing, where is your point, how far you are lagging behind from your friends, or how ahead are you from your friend. This is self-realization. So it helps to realize his or her maximum potential. It access the strength and shortcoming is your weakness and plan for what he wants to achieve. Okay, this is the fifth M of education. And now the sixth one is cultural development. It refines the aesthetic sense and the concern, respect for the others and other culture. So there are people where people are so typical about their cultures, about their people are so like, there is so much of racism going on. But when you educated yourself, when you educate yourself, when you have the quality, when your moral is developed physically, intellectually, emotionally, then you respect, your respect for the other culture, it also developed. So now all of you are grouped together, all of you with different religion, with different culture, but you respect each other. Just because of this education, you have been educating since your childhood. So that is why you have this cultural development. You have the respect for others and for other cultures. You do this for your friend and your friends have the same. So we do this for others, other have the same feeling towards us. Okay, this is the cultural development. Thus, the next one is citizenship. So the another aim of education is citizenship. It enabled him to cultivate qualities about his duties, about functions, about obligation towards society, right? So it makes you a responsible citizens. It relies about his it cultivate about the qualities, about the duties, about the functions, and about his obligation and responsibility towards the society. So suppose you are being you have come here for this nursing courses. Suppose if anything in your neighbors, or if anything is situation going on, or else the patient have heart attack or anything, like you being a citizen, you, I mean, you have a huge responsibility of doing CPR, taking him to the hospital, advising them to go through the certain tests, to give them advice. So it, this, because of this education, it makes you a responsible citizen. You know, you realize your duties, your functions, and your obligation towards society. Is it okay till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Education for Lizer. So what is the meaning of Lizer? Anybody? What is Lizer? So the meaning of leisure is relaxation and joy. Okay, education for fun, for relaxation. Leisure time should be utilized in such activities that are beneficial to the individual as well as society. Okay, we do this education as a kind of fun and relaxation. Now we studied about the concept of education, we studied about meaning of education, we studied about aims of education. Now we have come to the point of function of education. So now coming to the function of education. All-round development of personality includes physical, mental, emotional, and social development. So the function of education is to develop you. We have been saying this point. Almost aim and function of education are almost same. Okay, when you go for exam, you just have to remember for in their few points. They are all similar. So all-round development of personality, it includes your physical, mental, emotional, and social development. Second point of function of education is progressive development of innate power. So innate power is your inborn power. Each child is endowed with love, affection, curiosity, reasoning, imagination, self-respect, and function of education. So, and the function of education is to develop these inborn qualities. Okay, everybody is born with love, affection, care, reasoning, imagination, self-respect. So the function of education is to develop your inborn powers to a maximum potential. Okay. And coming to the third, character formation. Do you all agree to this point? Character formation and moral development. Character formation and moral development. So the function of education is to form our characters and to develop our moral. So basically the instinct are neither good nor bad. Okay, some of us we develop good habit, bad habit. Most of us have developed good characters and bad characters, even moral also. But so the instinct are neither good or nor bad. Goodness or badness result from their proper and improper modification. Okay, am I right? This, I think I admit the point. Some of you have goodness and badness. It's just because of your proper and improper modification. The next one is preparation of adult life. This point has been there in the function in the aim of education. And anyway, let's see it again. Preparation of adult life. It develops the ability and capacities in the child that he grows older. He is able to confront the problems of life and solve it. Do you agree to this point, preparation of adult life?
Yes, ma'am.
So you all have come to this education, so we are preparing you for adult life, so it will develop your capacities, your abilities as you grow older, and you will be able to solve the problems of your life. Okay, so we are preparing you for adult life. So this is the another function of education. And next is inculcation of social feeling. So the school environment and the social activities in the school develop social feeling and spirit of social service in children. Qualities like love, fellow feeling, kindness, cooperation, intolerance, sympathy, and sacrifice are inculcated. So as you all come together, you have a feeling of integrity. So what is the meaning of integrity? You have the feeling of oneness, unity. So when something, you guys, I can give you one example. When something, like if teacher says submit one assignment by tomorrow, so you will have this unity and integrity. Ma'am, we are not going to submit it tomorrow. It's not possible. We will do it on Monday. So though this is a social feeling, it may be a bad or a good one, but you have this integrity. So we are inculcating this social feeling to you, like the qualities of love, fellow feeling of one, unity, your kindness quality, your cooperation, your tolerance, your sympathy, and sacrifice are all inculcated. This is the most important function of education. Are you clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And now the next point is creation of a good citizenship. This is self-explanatory, right? Preservations of culture and civilization, social reforms. So we prepared you for adult life. You will acquire, by this time you will acquire knowledge. You will have your capability, your ability to your maximum potential. So you need to do something to make a reform. So you are responsible. You have a responsible duties towards your society, towards your being a citizen. So we expect. So the function of education, it wants you to do some social reforms with your knowledge, with your abilities, with your capabilities, being a responsible citizen. Okay, these are all the function of education. And then function of education to individual, adaptation to environment. You all come for these courses after your 12 standard, so you are adapting to a new environment. So you are blending, you are trying to copy in, and you are trying to blend in this new environment. So this is another function of education. Satisfaction of needs, and then vocational, occupational efficiency, self-efficiency, and development of your characters and your personality, and preparation for your adult life. Okay. So now the principle of education, anyway, now it's about to be 30 minutes. I want to continue this principle of education in the next class. Is it all right? We'll continue this principle of education in the next class, okay? Inamul and Teza, kindly please give the name of absentee student.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll end this class and I'll see you in the next class, okay? I'll say you the PowerPoint later.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then take care, all of you.
Ma'am, can you please share the notes?
Notes, yeah, I'll say my PowerPoint because I still need to do something. So I will say you after this, the whole topic is done, because I have to add more about learning and teaching also. Maybe I'll say you after 1-2 days.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, then take care, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.